This video is going to show you a solo speedrun of the Master Nightfall, Warden and Nothing being done in less than 10 minutes. For those who just want to see that and skip to the timestamps, but of that I can show you the weapons, the build, etc. So the reason why you want to either solo farm or team farm this Nightfall is because the heavy grain launcher Wendigo is dropping, which is a very important weapon, especially in future metas if they ever buff heavy grain launchers, which is definitely going to be a thing at some point in the game's lifespan. They will definitely buff heavy GLs and maybe even nerf rockets as opposed to that, because they don't seem to like heavy GLs and rockets in the same meta. So I'm not saying they're going to nerf rockets, but I'm just saying at some point heavy GLs are going to be good in the game, like really good. Wendigo is good in the game right now. It's all right. It's not like as bad as people make out. So it's still worth the farm anyways. So this is showing you that. Now, I've checked some runs on YouTube and I can't, well, I've checked all the runs this week and I can't find any runs less than 10 minutes. Solo-wise, master. Right? So this is the fastest solo master run to, as I know, as I'm aware. There'll be somebody who's doing it quicker, might not have uploaded it to YouTube. That, tough luck. So if you're doing it quicker than that, you should be uploading it. If you're somebody who's competitive about times and stuff. Not to say that I am, I used to be, but I haven't done this style of content in a long time, and I thought I would maybe do it and put a spin on it. So the mods are for the Nightfall Pestilence, Air Superiority. Champions are all three types. Radar, so the radar is disabled because of chaff. Equipment locked. Match game. The usual stuff. Solar acute burn is on for this Nightfall, so we've got to, think about solar burn and stuff. Lightning Crystals is the daily modifier, but I did not take advantage of Lightning Crystals at all because it's not as fast. The strategy isn't as fast with an Arc or Stasis subclass as it is Solar. So we're playing obviously on Titan, Solar, Sunbreaker. Super Choice, so you need to get all, once you start wanting to be efficiently farming an activity to the T, and you get every element right, you need to really home down on each fragment, each aspect, why you've picked it, and there's even the super choice. So Burner Maul's no good to you because it's really good, but it's not mobile and it doesn't deal with ranged targets very well. Hammer Assault's better. Pick that one. Barricade, Tower and Barricade's really good when you're playing aggressive and you want to seal off an area against ads from another ad, and then you can isolate champions away from ads and all this stuff. So Tower and Barricade's really good. Don't forget about it. Throw and Hammer, obviously, which does mass destruction. Hail and Grenade is the choice, so we're not using a damage type grenade. Aspects of Roar and Flame, Soul Invictus. Fragments are Ember of Torches, Ember of Solace, Ashes, and Empyrean. The three elements to this, well, obviously aspects of these two, but other than that, with our Restoration, when we pop a Healing Grenade, we double up with Solace, so we get a double time on that. But not only that, with Empyrean, you get an infinite time of restoration, providing that you keep getting solar kills, weapon or ability within that timer, so you can get an infinite amount of restoration on top of having sunspots. So yeah, you might only be, you might not have Law Resplendor, but this is better than Law Resplendor if you know how to play with it, right? Empyrean, just put that on. It's literally Splendor. It's literally that helmet, but you just do a bit of work by killing ads. Literally. So, the exotic we chose was Synthoceps, which buffs melee and super damage. This is huge for mountain champions, especially when you're at power for an activity, right? Which is 1610. So the higher power you are, the more effective you're going to be. At 1610, you're going to be doing huge damage. I was just over that, of course. So yeah, Synthoceps is the top pick for this hammer build. As for weapons, we use the Militia's Birthright, Calus mini tool, and the exotic sword Lament. The reason why I use these three weapons is because this weapon will stop champs, this one will overload, and Lament's got barrier built in it. So I've got all three mods available for this Nightfall. It works fantastic if you run Lament, because then your loadouts open up. On your SMG, put major spec on, and then on your grain launcher, put major spec on. Pick a good grain launcher that has auto and holster with spike or blinding. Blinding's top notch when you want to play aggressive and fast. I had spike on, I forgot to swap back over to blinding. I run a couple of runs before this with blinding, worked out really good, but I actually swapped to spike. And spike done the work as well, it's not as much protection as what blinding would be. So the build was a Lucent blade setup, with sword armor finder. Hands on is critical, so that's the critical thing. Make sure that your helmet has the hands on perk. You gain bonus super engine on melee kills. Unstoppable GL, Overload SMG, of course, with Elemental Charge. And then we've got Supercharged on the chest plate. So make your chest plate solar, run double solar resist, and then a Supercharged mod. And then we've got Melee Wellmaker with Sword Scavenger on the boots. Make sure you use Sword Scavenger because Lament ammo is super important. So now we have a Lucent Blade build. Now I understand that Radiant overtakes Lucent Blade. So if you have Lucent Blade procced, that's 35%. But Radiant, when you proc it, it overrides Lucent Blade, unfortunately. Which shouldn't be the case, but it is. So bear that in mind, but you're still going to get the recharge rate buff from Lucent Blade. And then lastly, solo operative and weaken clear on the class piece. Make sure you got that on to do maximum damage with your 15% and then you weaken clear. And then you can stack that with Radiant, Lucent Blade, etc. So it's critical you get all your stats right. Obviously to your 10 resil and as high discipline as you can go. And that's literally to everything to the build. So this is going to be quite tough to do commentary on moment-to-moment gameplay because there's a lot of things go on in the speedrun when you're there's a lot of things happening in a short space of time, so it's hard to cover every single thing. So as we start, there's 3 goblins. Make use of them. Don't just skip. Get Roaring Flames buff off them. At least 2 of them. I actually missed one, so I just opted for 1 stack. So if you have ×2 stack at least, you're going to melt the overload. So we're going to get another stack here. I could have got ×3 if I wanted. Then we're going to come in the middle of the map, stun, healing it just before, and then 2 throwing hammers. That will then kill our overload. Then we come to the door will open up. You don't need to kill any of the goblins. Skip all goblins. You don't need them for ammo because the build's going to take over. You only need a requirement of like a couple of heavy bricks in this run, and I'm not on about like 3. You could probably get away with 2 bricks dropping, which isn't far away from what would happen anyways. So if you at least get around about 2 bricks and you've got Sword Scav on, you've got enough Lament ammo for the run, I would say. Or maybe even 1 you could, if you were really optimized. So we killed that goblin there for Roaring Flames. It's all about Roaring Flames. We need to keep our buff up as much as possible, and that's what the whole run's really optimized about. So we've got ×3 now. We're going to skip the Hydra. We're going to get a stun on the Unstoppable, but the Hydra will kill you, so you need to back up behind the Unstoppable. So you're using the Unstoppable as a body bag, basically, right? So you can actually do that, and you're not getting hit by the Hydra. The Unstoppable is instead. Then you melt the Unstoppable, heal and nade. You come over to this barrier, instantly summon Sparrow, and this is the Sparrow skip. You want to know that there's 2 trains on the left sometimes. It's got a pattern. Now I know it off by heart without really telling you sort of thing, but I know when there's going to be 2 trains, so you need to know that too. If you don't, the train obviously is going to wipe you and it's going to cost you time in your farm, and you don't want that. We're keeping up our Roaring Flames buff again. We didn't have Synthoceps procced here, I don't think. The ads were slightly too far away. But the quicker you are at melting the Unstoppable, the better it is for the barrier, because the barrier is focused on the goblin. So there's a little mini timer going on in there that people won't even know about. If you're too slow with the Unstoppable, the barrier's going to face round to you and keep blinding you, slowing you back and stuff. So this room's based on percentage of enemies killed to get to the next CP. The next CP being the Vex mini boss. So the initial ads, the sniper, definitely kill those with your hammer, and then come to the left hand side because there's more cover here. Melt the barrier down with Lament or hammer, either one, then pop super. You should have super by now if you've got hands on the super mod on Arc Helmet. Then just keep using your super to clear out the rest of the ads. Come up here while your super is still active, because you have super resistance while we've been in a Roman super. Put up a barricade. This will prevent the ads. This locks off all the ads basically, and it means you can safely deal with this barrier, because this barrier is a nightmare to deal with at times. Doing that little thing with the tower and barricade, I'm telling you, it really does help out. Now we're going to deal with the rest of the ads, because it's based on percentage. So the quicker you are at clearing this room with the ads, the better it's going to be for you. So I'm going to actually come over the other side, because you waste time if you're in mid. So I will come back to mid when CP starts, which is your objective here, right? So like I said, the quicker you are with this section, the quicker you get that mini boss to spawn in. You don't need to clear every single ad, and it doesn't mean to say you need to clear both Void Shielded Minotaurs. They're not involved in the spawn. They're not involved in you getting next CP. It's just a percentage I've seen the mini boss spawn up when there's 2 void shields up. We're 4 minutes in, that's that room dealt with. We're good healthy on ammo, barely used any ammo as well, only really used it on the barriers and stuff, and a couple of the void shields. We have no roaring flames, we need to build up a buff to get the 2 unstoppables in the next room. We clear the 2 unstoppables and then we can bypass the rest of the ads. So we can easily do that. There's 2 snipers here, so we'll get both of them. This will allow us to one-shot the orange bar. Actually, I don't get both of them, I'm telling you lies. Only 2 stacks was needed for the orange bar, because we got Synthoceps by then. So we're focusing on the unstops, play around about here. You're saving a healing aid for around about here as well. If the barrel explodes on you, it nearly kills you, so that's why you get a healing aid down if that happens. Keep roaring flames up, keep going, it's ×3, I'm 16 seconds there. Still healthy. You want a healthy amount of timer to start melting the next amount of champions. There's a lot of champions on this phase. So what I suggest you do is you take the unstop first. I was a little slow getting to the unstop. It might not look like I'm a little slow, but if you actually know about like speedrun and stuff, you'll know I was a little slow there getting to him. Got to him though. And then it's the barrier, the Cabal, because the Cabal's going to melt you once he sees you, so melt down the Cabal after. Then it's 2 melees each for the barriers, melt them down quickly. Don't use Lament on that bit, because it slows you down. And then it's just the rest of the ads. Take out all the rest of the ads. The Overload's the least of your worries, because the Overload will push you, making him easy to take down quickly. And that's that little section done. It won't start though until all ads are cleared, so make sure you clear them out quickly with your hammer or whatever. Any explosive barrels you can shoot, so the ABC capture point. This is how you want to do it. You come to here, don't do any grenade launcher shots, nothing like that. Just with your mini thrown hammer and just keep melting. Build up your roaring flames. That will melt that barrier. Quickly loop round to the other door. If you're quick enough, you'll be able to ambush that unstoppable, melt him down, get to A as soon as possible. Then we're going to go to B and C. B simple, there's barely any ads, and then C you just blind. Well, you don't. Well, actually, I haven't got blinding grenades on, have I? But if I'd swapped a blind pack, you just blind everything and use your mini thrown hammer and use your healing grenade. Now I've got to own up. I said at the start of the video, put Lucent blade on. Now, would you believe it? In this run, I thought I had it on. I'd put the wrong mod on. Like, I'm one of the worst players in the game at times. I'm really good at times, and I'm really bad at times with mods. Putting mods on and switching mods and stuff like that. I've rushed in my menu and I put Powerful Friends on. So the whole build is with Powerful Friends on. I can't believe it. I don't know what to say, but the run's really good. I'm pleased with the run. It just goes to show that it didn't matter that much. The only thing that would have been different with the run is if I had a Lucent blade on, is that I would have got more of a recharge rate on my heavy, which isn't critical. So I suppose you could go more of a support elemental build anyways if you wanted. If you really wanted to, like Well of Life and stuff like this. If you wanted to do that, you could do that. So Lucent blade isn't required, I guess. But at the same time, you know, the run worked out. I was just bothered about getting a decent time, less than 10 minutes. So this little bit, I'm trying to have an upkeep of my Roaring Flames. I'll do GL first. That stuns some of the enemies a little bit. It's not blinding nades, I know, but it's still decent. Now the boss actually went somewhere else. I don't know what happened. The boss actually got thrown somehow, or just sort of glitched out and went somewhere else. So that actually cost me a few seconds. So this is what you do with this. So for every reason, when you're in a team, it's less likely to bug out, but it still does bug out sometimes with a team. But solo, it's more consistently to bug out if you go quick. Like I can guarantee you right now, if I don't kill myself here, the game's bugged out. So the way to bypass this, because I've got spike grenades on, which helps me kill myself quicker. No joke, if I had blinding nades on, this would take 3-4. So you activate chest, the bubble spawns in. You use the bubble to ricochet the shot and kill yourself. Spike grenades will one-shot you because you take self-inflict damage. You will then kill yourself and reset the checkpoint. This stops the bug from happening. You know, the bug where the champions don't spawn. Because this is important. If you don't do that, you don't get a chance at Wendigo. Because yes, you will get the boss to spawn in, and you will get an extra chest. Yeah, fair enough, but it's not a Wendigo chest. It's not a platinum rank chest. And I wanted just to clear a proper platinum rank clear. Yeah, I have to wipe to sort it, but this is This isn't my fault as a player. Bungie has known about this CP bug. Well, do they know about it? I don't know. But it's been in the game 18 months plus, maybe 24 months. Needs sorted out. This is what I'm on about. They're too slow with stuff like this. But it is what it is. So this wouldn't work on GM, obviously, what I've done, but it's fine. So how to speedrun these champs? Deal with the barrier first, the Cabal barrier, right? Then either, it depends, it's a frenzy at this point. Just, you need to make a live decision on what's happening. It ain't always the same when you do it, but make sure your recharge is recovered on the Lament. Debuff first with Grain Launcher, and then use Lament. Lament's wonky on this boss, but it does do massive damage. So just do as best as you can. I'm going to pop Super, because the Super does massive damage against the boss, especially when you have Synthoceps procced, which it will proc when the ads spawn in. So the Super's going to do nearly half damage to the boss anyways. That was a solo speed run, getting platinum rank on Warden and Offing. Less than 10 minutes. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.